We're now going to talk about Excel controls. So Excel has two different types of controls, and you can get to them using the Insert drop-down box from on the Developer tab. Now you see here there's two types of controls. We see Form Controls and Activex Controls, and you may be wondering which is better. You may have heard Activex is better. In this course, we are always going to prefer Form Controls. So Form Controls are very lightweight, and they allow you to create cell relationships. Now, you may not know what I'm talking about just yet, but that cell relationship is the key to a lot of what we've been describing so far in our Excel development. So it allows us to directly interface with Excel cells, and you'll see what I mean when we get to that. Activex Controls, on the other hand, are for very VBA-heavy applications. Well, at least that's what we've been told. And the reason we've been told that is because they allow you to do things like double click, right click, shift click, left click. With that, however, is a lot more weight. So yes, they have more options, and yes, they interact with VBA really well, but there's also a lot more weight to them. And by weight, I mean they take up a lot more spreadsheet storage and memory, and also kind of a weird thing about them, and I don't think it used to be this way in 2003 and 7, but as time goes on, they get a lot buggier. There are some ActiveX controls you'll put on a spreadsheet and they'll move around spontaneously. They don't always look the same across other spreadsheets. There's a lot going on that makes them very buggy, so we won't even use them here. And in fact, as this is a no VBA course and we want to show you what we can do without VBA, we're only going to use form controls. So we're always going to look to this top one. We will not look to ActiveX controls in this course. And the good news is you don't need them. They're harder to work with. For our cases, we have everything we need with form controls. Now, there's several different types of form controls. Button allows you to click on it, and it will fire a macro. We're going to typically prefer shape to that, so we won't really be using button here. Combo box allows you to pick from a selected list, also very similar to the list box. Checkbox allows you to check on and off, and you can connect that to a cell, which will reflect true or false. A spinner will allow you to go up and down in a value. Again, you can connect that to a cell to make it go up and down. A list box, very similar to combo box. Combo box lets you pull from a drop-down. List box has the list set already showing. Option button allows you to select from mutually exclusive possibilities, and again, you can link those to a spreadsheet. So let's say you select the third option, a cell will reflect a 3. A group box allows you to house those option buttons. We won't really be using group box. Some say it's useful. I don't find it particularly useful. I think its aesthetic is very old, so I won't prefer it. Label will allow you to put a label. Text box already allows you to do that in Excel, so we're going to prefer the text box shape always, because label is actually very restrictive about what it can do, and the best thing I think you can use it for is to maybe hook a macro to it, but you can do that with a text box, so we'll always prefer text box in this case. And finally, one of my favorites, the scroll bar. So the scroll bar can go horizontal or vertical, and you can link it to a cell, so as you move that scroll bar up and down, the cell will also reflect that accordingly. Now in this course, we are only going to be talking about these 5. The reason I picked these 5 is that I think they're the most useful. So some of these overlap each other in functionality, so you don't need a specific one. So we can get by using certain ones and not others. I think we should. So these are the 5 that I'm going to talk about. I do encourage you to go look at the others on your own. Those others are the group box, the label, and the button. So I don't really have a whole lot of uses for them. I don't think they're particularly useful anymore, but they may be worth investigating on your own.